Welcome to Arizona State Football Insiders. I'm your host, Rob Penn, along with an elite cast of co-hosts, should I say. You know, there's a few good in-state rivalries, but none really more exciting than this one. Coming up on a 96 meeting between the two universities, Arizona leads 49 victories to Arizona State's 45, with the Sun Devils winning the last 5 matchups. So today, we have Mr. Bray and Mr. Scooby Wright representing the University of Arizona Wildcats, and our esteemed co-host, Juan Roche and J.R. Redmond. Juan, what did this rivalry mean to you then and now?
Well, back then, I mean, it was everything. It was what you circled at the end of the season, even though JR and I were indoctrinated in one at a time under Bruce Snyder's system. But without question, that game was always on the back of your mind, especially with me, because I was only 1-2 against U of A as a starter. So to only get 1 win out of 3 starts is tough. And even now, as 48 years old, when the last time I suited up was 26 years ago, it still stings. You know, you still remember the losses. They stay with you. They never go away, because when it's your rival, it matters more to you. It's the bragging rights. It's the just ability to say that you won that game. That carries a lot. And if you get more wins than losses, you know, it puts a little more pep in your step and a little more swagger. So definitely this rivalry is inside. It's something that you think about all the time. And, you know, when you're a player and you know, there's a lot of the talk about the hatred and so forth, but really what it comes down to, it's intensity, it's passion. It's you got a group of guys in Tucson, a group of guys in Tempe that both love their universities, they love their programs, and they're going to give it 100%. And of course, when we clash, it's going to be hardcore, and that's what this rivalry is. It's hardcore.
Gotcha. Now, let's go back to the more recent years. Scooby, what was this rivalry to you then and now?
Well, for me, Arizona was the only school offered me. So any other school besides U of A, I already hated. Yeah. So the ASU being the rivalry school, had a little extra hate. So I was a little extra motivated. So it was cool. But I'd say for me, the coolest thing to look back on the rivalry was, I think about, like, it's one of the top 5 oldest rivalries in university histories across the nation. But I played in the game where it was the first time in both the schools' history where they were both in the top 15. And we were playing for the Pac-12 South Championship. So, yeah, it was a rivalry game, but it was also like the Pac-12 Championship South game in that same exact game. So that game was high stakes. It was extra high stakes, if you get where I'm coming from, because we were trying to go get into the Pac-12 Championship, both of us. Winner goes to the championship. So that was, you talk about clash and going after it and being aggressive, intensity and stuff. And, man, I've never heard Arizona Stadium so loud in my career when I was there. So that's what it meant to me.
You know what? It was I didn't really feel the real intensity of it until maybe my senior year. Even though I played in a couple of them, my freshman year was really exciting because we beat the brakes off them. And I didn't really get to play in the game much. You know what I mean? You know, all of the seniors, all of the guys that had that 96 season that had put in that time, put in that work, that laid the foundation for us to be able to have an undefeated season. Those are the guys that, and rightfully so, you know what I mean, got a chance to really just show up and show out. I mean, I think my freshman year, I think might have scored like 70 or something like that. I'm not sure what the score was. It was crazy. But I know that the seniors, you know, and the guys that had been there, I mean, it meant the world to them. When I say that, you know, we played in a Rose Bowl and they were more excited, it seemed like, about the U of A game than us playing in a Rose Bowl. So, but my senior year, I got a chance to really understand what it meant. And funny thing is, you know, I had some buddies, some high school buddies that went to U of A. So I really it's almost like being back home in the neighborhood, right? You know, guys on the other side. You know, it never fails, right? It's always going to be exciting. You're going to have people clamming, talking, yapping, getting after it. You know what I mean? That's going to be nonstop. And, those games are exciting because you got to put up or shut up.
I came out from North Carolina. I graduated from a high school of 103 people, 5,200 people in my hometown. I came out to Arizona. I didn't know the Arizona State rivalry. We played ASU in '88. That was my freshman year. We won. Derek Hill made a great catch late in the game, and it was awesome. And I was a red shirt, so I was, standing on the sideline playing grab ass with my friends. Well, '89, I actually got in position. I played a lot. I was starting on a lot of special teams and played about 13, 14 plays on defense. And we come into the Sun Devil Stadium. Now, at this point, I'd already been to the Rose Bowl. I'd already seen the LA Coliseum. And I don't mean to give you guys too much props, but from a guy from the South, ASU Stadium, when we walked in there, I was like, I've made it. This place is ridiculous. Look up, and it was just a beautiful architecture. It was just, we're like, this is what it's about. And you guys warmed up in your mustard and rust before the game. And then we went into the locker room, and we come out, and we're wearing, obviously America, USA, red, white, and blue. We come out the locker room. I'm getting pelted with, me and Ty Parker were staying on the sidelines. We had a full can of Coke come out of the stands, and it bed itself in the turf that somebody threw at us from the state. And that goes on both sides. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that's how intense the rivalry is. And then you dudes come out in a screaming bananas uniform in front of the biggest crowd that's ever seen this game at Sun Devil Stadium until the Super Bowl. There were 73,000 folks up there, and you heard the crowd's like, yeah, ooh. And we proceeded to, smack that ass.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, Trayvon Johnson.
Hey, don't wear that stuff anymore.
Hey, Trayvon Johnson enjoyed this also. Hey, Trayvon, give us your favorite moment or moments in the rivalry when you played.
Well, my favorite moments probably had to come from that 95 year, because I actually played that whole game during that year. And having that we unfortunately lost that game. That's the unfortunate part, man. But just the feel, the rivalry, the camaraderie, all the stuff that goes along with the game, the build up to the week, right? You building up the whole week, just getting ready. Like it's a whole nother season. Like they always say, like, yeah, you have your season, but the second season is this game right here. And all that matters is who wins this game. So that last game, man, I enjoyed that game. It was a great game. We unfortunately lost that game. But that's probably my most memorable time is that year in that game.
Scooby, I remember, like I said, just recently you had your name in the Heisman voting here, so I know you have a great memory of this game.
Yeah, no, it was. And that was one of the best games I had in my career. I mean, I was always taught big time players make big time plays in big time games, and it was. I was just trying to show out and play good.
47 tackles.
I don't even remember what I had, to be honest. I just remember opening play. I had a strip sack, and that was the loudest I've ever heard Arizona Stadium. I remember it came off the field, and my heart was pumping so fast. The coach had to grab me and say, "Hey, chill out. This is the first play of the game. We got a whole other game to keep going." And my heart was about to explode out of my chest, and that was probably one of the most intense feelings I felt playing football.
96 was great because, again, we went down there and we pasted them in Tucson. But I'm going to take it back to 94. And the reason I go to that game is because Arizona was on the upswing. They had Desert Swarm the year before. They almost came, Heath, Scooby. They almost got one of these.
We were on the cover of Sports Illustrated as number one team in the country.
Let's see it again. Let's see it again. Let's do it again. But in 94, the Wildcats, they didn't have the luster of 93, but they were still pretty darn good. They were ranked in the top 25. They were on their way to a bowl game. We were 3-7 going into that game.
Right.
And, we were a bunch of sophomores, a couple seniors, some juniors, and we put our all in that game. We prepared like it was our bowl game, and we went down to Tucson, and we came 4 inches from a victory. And, you talk about a wide kick, right? You never want to talk about a loss like it was something good. But just to go down there and play that defense the way we did and, lose 24-22, they were good. They had a squad. They were good on defense. They're good on offense. Again, on the way to a bowl game. But to go down into Tucson and take them down to the last play of the game, even though it didn't work out for us, man, that it was a statement to the rivalry, how intense it is. That even one team could be really good and one team not so good, and the game goes all the way down to the final play. We saw it just in 2018 when the Wildcats had us 21 points and the final kick went wide right. It was like the reverse, man. But that's the rivalry. It will come down to a critical play usually. 1 or 2 mistakes, 1 interception here, like Scooby, a strip sack. I mean, it's always that close. And that's what makes it so awesome. And that's what makes it memorable for me, is that it's for the most part, it's usually always close.
Gotcha. Heath.
Yes.
What do you think? What was your favorite moment besides the Coke cans being stuck in the ground?
Well, I mean, I had a great career at U of A, 4-year letterman, 3-year starter, captain of the Desert Swarm. But one of my best memories is actually when I left school. I coached football at Oklahoma for a year, and I came back to Arizona and coached quarterbacks and wide receivers for 2 years. And we had Richard Dice, who was a player of ours. And he goes down to the SC game, catching the ball for a touchdown across the back of the end zone, blows his knee out. He's down for the season. Me and the rest of the staff and me are in a room, and Coach Tony's got his back to the door, and the door slams open. Bam! And it's Richard Dice, and he's crying, like face is completely wet. And he goes, "I'm effing playing this week." And we're all like, what? And he leaves. And so Coach Tommy, and there was this dead silence in the staff room. And Coach Tommy goes, "Get Sue on the phone." And Sue Hillman at the time was our trainer. So we call her, and she's like, "Yeah, he just left my office. I mean, he's manic. What's the deal?" He's like, "Well, can he play?" And she goes, if he's not going to do any worse to it. It's already torn. I mean, he can play." So we go in the game, and he ends up being a Sun Devil killer.
Yes.
And catches that touchdown on the sideline, and then, gives everyone the #1 salute all the way from the sideline here. And then we kicked the field goal to win at the end. And I remember Rich Ellerson, who went on to be the head coach at Army, was sitting next to me. And I'm in Sun Devil Stadium. I'm on the glass, standing up, all 6'5", 250 of me, leaning against the glass, leaning over the stadium. Rich is having to grab my pants before I fell out in the stadium and fell 80 feet to the people below me. That was that's the first time I'd seen the rivalry from a perspective of off the field.
Okay.
Because the perspective on the field is, I mean, we all know, all of us. I mean, you're involved in the game. I mean, you're worried about the next play. You're bleeding, you're hurting, you're sweating, you're dying. When you're able to watch the game for the first time in your life, even as a coach, that was pretty special. And to win the game, obviously, was something that was
a heartbreaking loss in '95. They cost us a bowl game.
You give me crap about
they
that.
sent us home for Christmas.
Now, JR, let's finish it off, brother. What's your favorite moment?
You know what? Like for me, again, as I got older, playing this game, I remember I'm going to go back to high school real quick. Guys that I played in high school, Dennis Northcutt, he was on that team. We played each other. 3 years in high school, we played against each other. Ortez Jenkins was a quarterback. Ortez Jenkins used to be my guard on my Pop Warner team. So it was exciting and fun to watch. Guys that you played against, guys that you known. And being in the Pac-10, a lot of Southern California guys, they stay on the West Coast. So, game in and game out, I was playing against guys that either I grew up with, been playing against since Pop Warner, or we played on the same team. But again, that was also just good to see. When you see guys getting out, everybody doesn't make it out. You see guys that no matter whether they're on a rival team, whether they're on a team, you play once every once every other year, because we don't play everybody every year at least during that time in the Pac-10. So it was just good to see your friends, your buddies, you know what I mean? Those that made it and get an opportunity to talk shit. You know what I mean? And talking. If you get an opportunity to give them one, give them one. You know what I mean? So that was the fun thing for me. I'm on the field, even though this is a rivalry game. I'm on the field with guys I've already been playing with since Pop Warner, since high school.
So Juan, you just mentioned a second ago that you guys came down here with a team that was 3-7 and came up 4 inches short. This year, the Sun Devils are coming in 3-7.
Yes.
Quick analysis for Friday. What is one thing that the Sun Devils have to do to pull this game out?
You can't let Deloria run free. You can't let that kid get into a rhythm. One thing that I've noticed about the Wildcat offense is it could be very explosive, and if you're not careful, they're going to jump on you. They can easily get up on you 21-0, 24-0. I mean, they can score. And this is going to be a big task for Donnie Henderson and his defense because we have not been adept at stopping people. This kid can turn your lights out. I've been watching him all season. He's a great player. He's a good get from Wazoo. He came in the transfer portal. He's what they needed to ignite that offense. And they got the running back. His name escapes right now, but that kid will run you over too. And here's the thing. The biggest improved aspect, I think, of the Wildcats right now is their offensive line. They are playing nasty. Don't really let Wazoo fool you. Watch the UCLA game and watch what those 5 kids did to that Bruin defensive line. They beat their ass. So ASU is going to have to go in there with a defensive mentality that they got to stop Deloria. They got to stop that old line. They got to stop that run game because if the Wildcats run free, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Scooby, the Wildcats sitting at 4-7. What do they have to do to win this game? From a defensive perspective.
From a defensive perspective, I think they just came off one of their best performances. I think last week they played fairly well. It was the
Second
best
half,
showing.
yeah.
What were you saying, Heath?
Second half was great.
Yeah, that was the best. That was the best I've seen their defense look this season, in my opinion, was in that second half versus the Wazoo game. So I feel like if they could keep building and take those strides into the next game at ASU, I think the sky's the limit because I don't think Seven Delora throwing 4 INTs, I don't think that's in his character. I think that was very out of character for him in that game, which was unfortunate because that was a big time game for him. But hopefully he carries that energy and that passion into this game at ASU. So those are my quick analysis of the game.
This Friday's game, like I said, we got the Wildcats and the Sun Devils. We're head to head again. I wore my Unity shirt. What must the Sun Devils do to win this game?
Ain't no unity.
You don't mean us, right? You don't mean this group, right?
Yeah, ain't no unity.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man?
It's rivalry, bro.
Hey, look,
Choose violence.
Unity United next Monday.
Right here.
Let me say what's up to my brothers first, Juan and J.R. What's up with my brothers over there, man?
What's up, T?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, man, this is, to me, it always boils down to execution, man. That's what it boils down to, right? And who can execute the play call. You got great coaching on both sides, but it's about who's going to come together, corral their team, and execute the play calling, because the team that makes the most mistakes is the team that's going to lose, right? Everybody's good. You got a great set of team or athletes on both sides of the game, and then it's just a matter of who's going to execute. Now, who can keep that momentum? Who can maintain that mentality of screw to you, no pity for the kitty, because that's how we do on our side. So as long as we keep that mentality, ASU will come out victorious and keep it for 4 quarters. You got to keep it for 4 quarters, though. No mistakes for 4 quarters.
All right. Hey, JR, let's make this a specific question, individual question. Let's talk about Valid Day. What must Valid Day have to accomplish for us to win this game? Because it has to go through him.
Well, really, he just has to do the things that he has in his arsenal. We know he's a complete back, right? From speed to vision to physicality, all of those things have to come together. And I think that they're going to have to be creative with how they get him the ball. And I don't mean just, finding new trickery plays or things of that nature, but just mix up some runs. You know what I mean? Some runs that they haven't had, some misdirection, things of that nature, but really just unleash him. Let him do what he does. As long as they get him going early and get him going downhill right away, he's going to be problems for them.
Well, the thing is, I mean, Jared just made a great point. I mean, the thing is that when you're playing defense, I mean, Scooby will tell you, you sit over there and you go, there are dudes in the league that you want to play against, and there are dudes you don't want to play against. Our guy from ASU, I mean, that's going to be a tough challenge for Arizona's defense. But the thing is that Delora had Juan, to your point, had a pretty abnormal game playing against his alma mater or his former team and all the stress. I mean, did you see the argument on the sideline, how ridiculous that was? Yeah. I mean, it was terrible. So, I mean, you could tell where his mind was. But when he gets back on track, you got a good point. But I think to Scooby's point, if we can play defense and be able to understand, to JR's point, the damage that can be caused by the running back, I don't think they don't have a quarterback that's going to be able to throw the ball downfield and beat you, just overpower you. So I say, we've got some great running backs ourselves, but when you got Delora, he can make a difference. But it all comes down to your point, is our defense. If we can stop them for 3 series, I said it right here, 3 series, we make them punt 3 times or stop them, we'll win.
I wanted to say one of the things what's going to be a big key is who can handle the emotions of the game, who can handle the ups and the downs of the game, because there are going to be some ups, there are going to be some downs. Can't be too high, you can't be too low. Who can have the shortest memory? I think these things are also going to play a big part in who's going to win this game, because it's going to be an emotional game. And sometimes when you're playing high on emotion, you just want to make the play so bad you make a mistake, right? One mistake can lead to a couple mistakes. So, just who can ever keep their emotions in check is really going to also be a big factor in who wins.
That's right.
Great point.
Before we get out of here, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to a fantastic audience that supported us this entire season. We want to thank you, and the floor is open. Juan, JR, you guys have anything before we get out of here?
Wait a minute. You didn't ask for you, big guy? What's up?
Go for it, Heath. Go for it.
All right, I'm going to tell you one quick story that is a great story for our rivalry that me and Juan have talked about before. I had this dude named Sean Mooney. He was doing Fox Sports, and they were doing the broadcast nationwide of the ASU U of A game. He comes by my office. This is probably 10, 12 years ago. He asked me to bring Ty Parton in. He interviews both of us. He said, listen, this is going to be a national broadcast. This is hype up. And he had, I think, Jake Plummer and what's the other receiver?
Keith Poole.
Yeah, Keith was there. So we're doing these deals. And Ty comes on, and Ty, my buddy Ty Parton, he was the team captain with me in the Desert Swarm team in '92. He's kind of stiff. And so Sean comes up to me and goes, he had interviewed me when I played at U of A. He goes, Heath, this is going to be a national television. Can you give me something? I was like, I got you, bro. I had my Ronald Reagan blue jacket, red tie, Arizona pin on. And he said, Heath, what does the Arizona State rivalry mean to you? And he hands me the mic. And I'm like, Sean, to me, it's the classic battle of good and evil. Skating around the field, wearing mustard and rust, and you have us being the superior academic and athletic institution down in Tucson wearing the colors of our country. For me, it's an easy decision.
Whatever.
And they're Satanists.
Perfect.
Yeah. You know what? It's really a case of civilization in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Really is really what we're dealing with here.
It goes both ways, JR. It does. It goes both ways. Trust me. And the thing is, too, that most people don't get about this rivalry that kills me is that we hate each other as a collective. But dude, if I was in a bar with you guys or a restaurant or a charity event or something, I mean, we're boys. 100%. As soon as we walk in the door. I mean, Juan and I have been friends for 15 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he's not really your friend. He's told me some things he had planned.
Oh, I keep my, hey,
It was all
I keep my
set up.
head on a swivel when I'm around him. Trust me.
What'd you say, Scooby?
I
What'd
wouldn't
you
be
say,
standing
Scooby?
around a pile, but that thing didn't trust me.
I said it's all a setup, Heath. They're just playing with you.
We're setting them up. To Heath's point, I think that when you look at the rivalry and we look at the guys that have played in it, the young men who battled in this war, it's a who's who of football. If you look at some of the great names, Heath Bray, Scooby Wright, J.R. Redmond, Trayvon Johnson, me, Jake Plummer, Mike Haynes, Randall McDaniel, we could just go down the list. Chuck Cecil, Teddy Bruschi.
Kyle Simmons.
Yeah, it's been just some
Danny
great
White,
players.
throw him in there.
There's some great players that have played in this rivalry. So, I'm honored that I'm a part of it even now and that I've been a part of it. But I mean, I almost think that it's our responsibility to teach these young guys how special this rivalry is, not just because of the historic aspect, like Scooby mentioned to begin with, over 90 years, but the great players. And like Keith said, off the field, we see each other. We're all like war buddies. We all fought the war, so everyone's good with each other. We've all gone on with our lives professionally and so forth. But the rivalry is always going to be there.
One I talked about today, and I want to make sure you guys understand before you leave this call, is that we have friends that played at ASU, that we have relationships with guys that are there, and we're all like you said, Juan. It's a kind of a fraternity of guys that have been in the wars together. Now, we could hate each other one day a year, and then love each other the next 364. And that's the kind of way I look at it,
Mm-hmm.
especially with my wife.
And mine too, because we've been there. She got her graduate at a different
She's
college.
on your side, bro. One day a year.
One day a year.
Hey,
Yeah.
one thing we all do collectively is we support that badass linebacker that's about to do some damage this year. Scooby, we behind you, my brother. All
Love
the
you,
way.
brother.
Yeah, good luck, Scooby.
No
I
clown,
appreciate
baby.
you guys for
Handle your business. Handle your business.
Do your business, baby.
My God.
Thank you guys. You guys have a good one.
Before we
All
get
right.
out of here, thank you for
Good
tuning in.
deals.
Catch
All
us
right,
on
guys.
all platforms, the Believe platform, ASAPleague.com, Sirius, XM, everything. Check us out. See you later. Oh, what should I say?
baby.
What's up or what? Peace.
They do this deal or whatever. I don't know.